the New York Giants, who, I mean, I don't know what your thoughts were on that game against the Broncos, but I actually didn't even know how to summarize it on the Sunday show. I was just like, stuff happened.
Same.
Like, just a whole bunch of stuff happened. But New York Giants, who are currently 2-5, buying or selling them as a playoff team.
Yeah, I had the same experience where did the live recap show that we do on the forecast on Sunday and tried to recap the exact way that things went down into how the Broncos scored 33 points in the fourth quarter, you know, a historic fourth quarter. It's like 1 in 1,000 or whatever in terms of the record of teams that were down by that many and all that. And I was like, I remember being like, I know I missed something. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the Giants kicker missed the freaking extra point, which is why the game was not 33-33. So just it was a crazy, insane game here. I think in terms of Giants, playoff contender. No, I'm going to go ahead and sell them as a playoff contender, but buying them as a fun team to watch, much more entertaining. I'm curious, Nate, like, where are you at with the Jaxson Dart, like, capitulation meter? You know, like, do we need to capitulate to the Jaxson Dart bros? Not that I didn't personally have some like strong stance on Jaxson Dart. I was like, I don't know, you know, there's definitely some minuses in the profile here, but evaluating quarterbacks is not my forte. Where are we at with Dart after I don't even know what to describe this stretch here. It's been wild. It's been fun. It's certainly injected some juice into a team that has, I'm saying juice a lot today. It's injected some hope and some excitement into a team that had very little of either over the last few years. So I'm curious, obviously, if you're buying or selling this team, and I'm just like, where are we at with Dart after the first few games of his career?
I am selling. I will say selling them as a playoff team, I should say. Dart is at least fun. He's exciting, and he's a very good athlete, where I thought that, you know, as a runner, I even when I was evaluating him, I was like, you know, he is a good runner. Like, he's got good vision and he can like set runs up and everything. But this is where my issues lay. That's the only consistent part of his game right now. And it's also like, he's not built to last that way, especially how he runs. This guy has never been a guy that shies away from hits, like, which is like, you love the competitiveness, but like, since the history of time, since the NFL started in whatever year, the 20s, since the mobsters bought NFL teams, including the Maros, they have, the quarterbacks don't last that take hits all like that. Like, it's just how it goes. Even guys built like Cam Newton, taking hits like that, just don't have long careers. So it's just that's something I just always keep in the back of my mind, because yes, it lifts your floor and allows you to be sustainable as far as in short term. And if you got to win a game, it's great to have. You got to have it moments. And I love that aspect. But once you see this offense and this quarterback, Dart especially, get off the opening script and get off those planned plays, it's so scattershot right now that it's just like, it's hard to trust. And that's the thing about him. I knew he'd be a project. So I'm still like kind of where I'm sticking with that, where I'm like, yeah, he's still a project, but not the most conducive situation, because you got a really desperate head coach who's letting you know how desperate he is every single moment of the football game. He's got to chill out. Like, he's putting too much, like, it's just, I know what he's trying to do and just be like, and Dable's trying to do, but it's like, don't have to peek your head into the medical tent. You don't have to, like, every play on the sideline doesn't have to be the highest high. I'm still not over that medical tent sequence. I know it's a stupid thing to focus on, but I mean, when he like goes in there and he takes the hat off, somebody compared it to like a Civil War general checking in on a wounded lieutenant or something. Scattaboo's going into the freaking medical tent. Again, this is all so cool, and it's a vibe, you know, and I mean, I swear to God, every third Instagram reel I get now is like a Jaxson Dart Cam Scattaboo meme. So it's definitely a wild ride. It's fun, but yeah, you just wonder. It does feel like we all know what you're doing, Brian. Like, we all know that you're like, no, I'm me and this guy. Like, me and this guy, he's holding on to him as the parachute, and like, but it all does feel, even Scattaboo, I hate to be the buzzkill, but it's like, how long is that gonna last, the way he plays? I mean, again, it is awesome, but how long is that going to last? And that's where I struggle with it. It is fun, but is it good? And that's and I haven't been moved by Dart, because the highs are good. Like he can create some throws and really, he can make some high end throws. He's willing to push it over the middle. He's willing to run around, but also he creates all of his own pressures. Like Andrew Thomas is kicking ass right now. He might be the best offensive lineman in football right now. And he only gave up one pressure to Nick Bonito on 11 snaps, which is saying something because what Bonito's been doing week in, week out. And he's like, Dart, to me, it's like, okay, he can't get off number one. Like, so it's a lot of design plays. And this is why the opening script stuff, he comes unraveled. And this is how he was in college too, actually, is once those plays come unraveled and he has to actually process and actually has to get to 1 to 2 to 3. And as teams get film on it, you can see like where he is limited mentally. And it's not just, and why I had concerns with him coming in. It's like, this guy's had a lot of reps in college. And so I'm, all right, you're already like, we can make the comparisons to Josh Allen. Josh Allen was a JUCO guy that went to Wyoming and then barely went to high school camps, never this. This kid, Jaxson Dart, is the flip side. Big time recruit, goes to USC, goes to Ole Miss. He started all these places. He's had reps in good offenses with real coordinators and stuff. And he's still not like processing the game to the level that I think you can have sustained success. So again, if this was year one, Brian Dable, year one of this regime, I would be a little bit more optimistic about it. But to me, none of this is kind of lining up how I think it should, like where it could lead to that long-term success. I don't want to like the sky is falling and everything. Like they're going to, they're going to stay alive in these games because of what else is happening. But also the receivers have dropped like flies. You watch them against the Broncos, no receivers were catching the ball. Like it was Theo Johnson catching a tip pass that goes for a touchdown and everything. So even at the end of the game, Charles compared it to when Jaxson Dart unraveled against Florida in college, and that's how that felt at the end of this game, where he's just throwing ball into harm's way. Guys are cleating each other on the Broncos because so many of them were by the ball. He's hunting PIs, and it's like, yes, you might get those, and you might get those plays once in a while, and you can win a game once in a while. But as far as winning 10 games in year 2, 10 games in year 3 and playing in, week out, that's where I'm still struggling to see that and squinting to see that right now. So long-winded way to say it's like, I kind of feel the same. It's more fun and exciting than good than anything. But defense, just even get off Dart and Scatterboo and all that. I think I do like what the Giants O-line is doing. I do like what Andrew Thomas is doing. I do like what Theo Johnson's doing. And I do like what the defense pass rush is doing, but the defense struggles to tackle as well. So it's not like where I'm like, well, the defense in the run game, we're going to keep them in a lot of games. So it's just a team that feels like a year away, but it's not. Look at the regime. They're not building for a year away. They're trying to like do stuff right now. So yeah, that's my feelings on the Giants. I have a lot more than I actually thought I did. All right, let's move on to another NFC team, the Bears, who are 4-2, third in the NFC North because the NFC North is a gauntlet. They beat the Saints pretty handily. They forced some turnovers on defense. They won 26-14. Are you buying or selling the Bears as a playoff team, Matt Harmon?
I don't think we've disagreed yet, and I feel like this might be the one we disagree on. But I think I'm gonna sell on them as a playoff team. Pretty close. Like I don't feel definitive sell because there's a lot of positives here coming out of the bye week. I think everybody was obsessed about, is the passing game going to look awesome coming out of the bye week? Are we going to see more Luther Burden? Are we going to see more Colson Loveland? Instead, you can clearly tell that Ben Johnson went into that week 5 bye and he said, I am going to figure out this MF and run game. Yes. And the results have been incredible. So I tweeted this out yesterday morning. I don't know if it's changed since the two Monday night games, but the Bears on running back runs only the last 2 games. Number 1 in yards per game, 174.5. Number 1 in percentage of carries that have gone for 5+ yards. First among teams that have had carries of 10+ yards. 26.4% of their runs have gone for 10+ yards. Second in percentage of runs that have gained a first down or a touchdown. First in yards before contact per running back run. They're 13th in yards after contact per running back run. So not terrible, but I mean, it's kind of the DeAndre Swift story. It's funny, like I compared him to when we were talking about Jahmyr Gibbs on the solo recap show last night. I actually said that Jahmyr Gibbs it really is just like the supercharged not the same flaws version of DeAndre Swift, or what I should say is that he has the same strengths as Swift does, which is, I think when you give him a hole and you say like, this is where we're going, just rip it, just go. And I think he's got good vision working outside the tackles. He just has no sense of like inside zone or any stuff like that, which Gibbs does. Like, he's not the same in that way, but they're similar in that when you can give him a lane, get him to the perimeter. Darnell Wright's been kicking ass so far. He can get to the edge and he can go. So that's where a lot of these like 10+ yard carries. But I thought Monungai was a nice change of pace in Sunday's game as well. So I think the run game has been great. The defense has been very opportunistic. That's the part where I don't really know where I feel about that. You know, is that a sustainable thing, or is that just, hey, you played Spencer Rattler and kind of a banged up Washington team, or is the defense really turned around from being kind of a sieve? I don't want to judge Dennis Allen's unit too harshly because it's a new coaching staff and stuff like that, but that's probably the area I'm most curious what you think. And then on the passing game side of it, I completely agree with what Ben Johnson said after the Saints game, which was this. You know, it's been a roller coaster so far in the passing game. There's still some stuff that they can clearly get better. I think it can get better over the course of the season, but some stuff there from a Caleb part of it, a interior pass rush part of it that I think might haunt them all season long.
No, I am buying. So you were correct. Actually, like, I agree with a lot you're saying. That's what's just so funny is that it's so I have kind of the same assessments, but I'm buying and you're selling. The run game is great, or has been great since the bye week. Might be some of the opponents they played, but I do think that they narrowed down what they're getting to. It's a lot more zones, and then as the game goes along, they throw some change ups. And I think it's just it's more. I don't want to say it's more thoughtful, but it's more going like streamlined. Maybe that's the word I want to go for. Is that it's like, okay, no, this is what you can do, DeAndre Swift, get you outside, and on zone runs. And I'll give Swift some credit. Like, on zone runs, he's playing smart. Like, I don't know what they did, how they trained him. Maybe they put, blinders on, like, like a racehorse, where they're just like, okay, just all right, we're going to cup your eyes and you can only look forward. Because like his vision on zones has actually been okay, where it's just like, he's not doing, he has this bad tendency where he'll cut and then he cuts again. And so he'll cut to get north and then he cuts to go horizontal. And that's why he's so freaking frustrating.
He's like Pac-Man.
He's kind of, yeah. It's not, he puts himself at a worse angle. Like, he doesn't understand physics. It's just really frustrating. But at least now it's like he's limiting that. And I don't know if it's just it's a 2-game sample size, maybe, but something after the bye where he is like trimming some fat to his movement. I don't want him to now start feeling himself where he's like, I'm going to go back to what I was doing. But I do see some positive stuff from him. And I do think that the run game, and then now they got this left tackle out of nowhere, Theo Benedict, which is, he's not the greatest player in the world, but he's he's fine. And I think, again, now you got an offensive line that I don't think they have a true glaring weakness. And you see it in the run game, you see it in the passing game. And then the passing, and so I think the run game's getting there. Even DVOA wise, the run game is 13th and the pass game 16th, which is, if you asked me that a few weeks ago, I would have been like, no way. And so, but that's how this offense feels. It feels like fairly average right now. And I think that's a big improvement. And the fact that they can be more balanced, I think Caleb's highs are really good right now. He still has a couple sprays a game where, especially when he throws left, there's something with his footwork left that I'm still trying to kind of figure out the way to kind of like articulate what's going on. But man, he's getting more confident between the throwing between the numbers, which is so important in this offense. Yeah. And I think that's where you see the positives of what's happening with Ben Johnson and Caleb, is his trust throwing over the middle, his confidence throwing from under center, his confidence turning his back to the defense. Because I would say in the prior 14 months, when he turned his back to the defense on play action, he whipped his head around so quick and looked down because guys kept losing in front of him. So that's why it's so hard to trust as a quarterback. You turn your back for a whole second and someone might lose and you turn around and you just take one to the chin. Now he's like, all right, I'm doing the full fake and I'm getting it. Now I'm in a rhythm as I throw these. So again, it's not all perfect, but there is a lot of good with what Caleb's doing right now. And I think he's, like, if his worst games look like an average quarterback, that is what you want, because it's not all perfect. Colson Loveland, Cole Kmet just got banged up. Now you're seeing Colson Loveland as a complete tight end. He had some really good blocking moments, which is why I'm so encouraged about him long term, along with the pass game stuff. So I think this was the team that took the leap after the bye week. Defensively, I'm still trying to figure out what they are defense. I don't think they're as bad as they were before the bye because they had injuries to Gordon, Kyler Gordon, and TJ Edwards. And now those two coming back has helped solidify it a little bit. But I do think that, it's more like a below average unit. It's, the defensive tackle stuff, like you can run on them between the tackles. And I think that's going to really be their bugaboo. But man, not a bad team. But yeah, I am buying them as a playoff team. I had them as the 7th seed going into the season. And I just think that's where I'm going to go with. I'm going to keep it that way. I don't know. There's good stuff happening in Chicago. Yeah. I've been saying I'm bullish on the Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams pairing, and I'm staying that way. They play the Ravens this week. Then they got the Bengals, Giants, Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, all winnable games to me. I think that's where you want to be. You're 4-2 after the bye, feeling good, and you got win all these games. I look at them, I go, yeah, they can win all these games. That's a big improvement from maybe the first couple of weeks of the season.
You're making me question my sell. I will say that just because, again, they're 4-2. And if these things can continue to trend in the right direction, and this was always the thesis with the Bears, is that they were probably going to be a better second half team than a first half team. And like, they are a markedly better team here coming out of week 7 than they were in week 1. A markedly better team, especially on offense, especially in the passing game. Not all perfect, as you mentioned, but there's a lot of ways you can tell yourself a story about how this gets better. So you're definitely making me question my sell. There's some things I still need to see, but generally I think they're headed in the right direction.
They're very, and I just want to close it with this. They're really well coached, and it's palpable. Like, I know they have some stuff where some snap stuff happens, some illegal shift stuff happens, and I do think that's already been cleaned up post bye. It's a young skill player group. Like, you got to remember that too.
Oh yeah.
But now it's like it just looks tighter. Like, even Luther Burden looks like he knows what he's doing. And that's a guy I thought would take some time. So, like, again, you look at some players as kind of like your indicators of what is going on. And it just, guys know what they're doing now. And I don't know. It's just palpable when I watch them that I'm so high on this regime overall. It's exciting to see them starting to ascend. I want to just see them keep ascending.